again, to facilitate, start the communication, to have the people to answer the questions. I would think we'd go back for another meeting and possibly another meeting after that before it's done. It's not a quick process, and as you get into it, citizens are gonna have a lot of questions.
Mhm.
So this is an opportunity to build relationships and, kind of hear from folks, what they're looking for.
And I know it doesn't give them an answer for today. I know they want that road improved yesterday, but it's a step. We gotta start somewhere.
And as much as we have the overview in mind, and Mike, you spoke to that too, when a person lives on a road that got flooded, or not, it's just a dry, dusty summer, no road is more important than their road. And we have to respect that.
And, I truly appreciate those folks being advocates for their area. Last Monday, 2 Mondays ago, when you had a packed house and hearing people coming to advocate for Price Road, I think that's great. And I think that, they've been afforded the public process, and it's really nice to see them participating. Instead of just saying, oh, those dang county commissioners and, road department, they're just forgetting about us. They came and did something about it, so. To at least start the ball, to at least let us know that they do want something more than what they're receiving. So we've got to work with them too, to let them know how this process can work and how we can help them.
One thing about the past meetings we've had, there hasn't been a lot of turnout. I think at one, we brought a bunch of department heads and we still had more county staff than public. This might bring more people. It's still an opportunity, and I'm still glad that we had those meetings, even if people didn't show up. That's not the issue. The issue is our following through, our planning the meetings.
If this is going out to specific landowners, though, that's going to make a world of difference, whether it's just, because in the
Absolutely.
past, there's going to be a commissioner meeting.
Yeah, woo-hoo.
Yeah.
Well, and I think without a Three Forks paper,
It's
that's
been
my understanding, they're
very,
still not
very
there.
difficult.
It's difficult to communicate with
Yes.
those people because we can put it in the reporter and,
Right.
let a few key people down there know so they can rally their neighbors, but it's not the same as receiving a personal
Yeah.
invitation.
So we send them to the Three Forks Library, to that little independent paper that's down there. Mr. Rice, who is head of the homeowners association, said he is going to put both the minutes and the agenda in their HOA. So we're gradually getting a little more information down there, but it's difficult without a newspaper, very difficult.
Yep.
Now that Belgrade News comes out every Thursday. The Three Forks Chamber of Commerce in the city has a 4-page insert of that. And they come out now. Belgrade News has the office in the Bozeman Daily Chronicle, they own that. So that's a good, they have a lot of county news, or Three Forks news. You can get into that one.
So maybe we should be subscribing to that as well, just so we're aware of what they're doing.
Yeah, I think it's free or even subscribe to it.
Mhm.
Call the city hall down there.
Okay.
They're the ones that put in that flyer. They have their own Three Forks advertising, it's just an insert. I don't think it's every week, I think it's every other week or something, I can't remember. It's just Three Forks news. There's a lot of school stuff, and a lot of city, Three Forks city stuff, but all those people pick it up free.
Okay,
They don't charge the subscription issue like a minute.
right.
You get electronically too, that's probably where you want to get it.
Mhm. I think, communication is huge. I know you know this. It's, a huge part of what we do here. There has to be communication. So the better we can communicate with them, I think the better we can help them.
Well, it's never enough, but you're
Right.
right. That's not a reason not to.
Mhm.
So my question would be, are you guys good with moving forward? And if so, can we go ahead and set a date to have a meeting in the Wheatland area so that we can get it advertised, get it out there, and start the process for those folks? And I'm not
have a
suggesting
problem
next
having
week.
a meeting down there. I think that's a good idea. We can get them, if nothing else, we can educate them on what the RID is, and then they can go back to what, see if that's something that they wanna pursue, or however they wanna go with it.
Yeah, because then it's gonna be in their hands.
Yeah.
So not to prolong this process, but I'm thinking like a month, just so we can get space, notice, mailing sent out to them. Corey, hopefully, I mean, I know he's super busy, but maybe bring him up to speed, or if Tara is available, if Corey's not amenable to Tara attending. We need somebody legal there. I feel very strongly about that. I would also like to see the sheriff and maybe somebody from city court, maybe somebody from Doug's office, you know, to make it, there might be other questions besides this that come up, so why not bring more of our membership or more of our employees, or is that too much?
I think it's a great idea.
So I'm thinking to invite every department head, but I don't want to be out of bounds. Because maybe somebody sitting there has a question of the sanitarian that they have not picked up the phone to call, but then also there's the expense of the county of having that person because they would be on the clock. So what's your thought on this? What are your thoughts?
I think all is probably too much.
Okay.
And I would like to get those meetings, those traveling meetings again. I think they're important.
Mhm.
So I'd like to see a rotation started like we did a couple of years ago. But maybe those that kind of fit with this. Also, we've been hearing that folks are interested in maybe some changes with rural fire. So having the Three Forks rural fire there
Okay.
would be a good idea. Like you said, the sheriff, I think that is a great idea.
3-4 gallons, sir?
Okay.
If I remember when they were here and did their presentations, you guys set a date to meet with them in a month, so you'd be meeting with them here maybe before that. Is that right?
Right,
Did
yeah,
you
we said about a
advise them in
month.
that-
Yep.
In that group, so.
Yeah, to have the meeting down there with them, I think would be a great way to meet that
Sure.
personally. And by then, we should have the public works supervisor, which would be good, and
Okay.
also the road foreman. I think both of them be in there would be good.
And,
Solid waste,
Okay, and DES.
DES,
Mhm.
yep. Julie would be a good one. You know, inviting Mark, see if we
Okay.
can meet folks, because I think that's still in his district.
Somebody from the clerk and recorder's office.
Yeah, because of the tax part of it,
Mhm.
don't you think?
And legal. Okay.
I can go down with you.
I already put you on the list.
Thank you.
You stepped out of the room and you got.
All right, so I've got you three commissioners. Three Forks Fire Department, the sheriff, myself, Three Forks Ambulance Service, Public Works Supervisor, Road Supervisor, DES, Solid Waste, Environmental Health, Weed Department, Clerk and Recorder, and somebody from legal. Does that cover it?
I think so.
Okay.
Where are you gonna have it at?
You know, something that size,
Stockyard?
I'm thinking the
Stockyard.
stockyards,
Yeah.
but just for space wise,
Yeah, we had a egg meeting there, Stockyard.
yeah. And you know, they're nice, it's comfortable. People down there are familiar with it and easily accessible. Okay. I didn't bring a calendar, but 1 month, when did you anticipate meeting with those folks again?
Did we set a solid date, Mike?
Where are we at?
Did we set a solid date, or did we just say in about a month? I think it was just in about a month.
We said in about a month, so looking
So
at the week of the 14th in May, somewhere in that week.
I'm thinking one more week out, the 21st, just to get it on everyone's schedule. I mean, just because it's going to take me some time to put together a mailing. It's going to take me some time to
Yeah.
communicate with
Yeah.
Corey to get him versed on this. And then, of course, we don't want to go after Memorial Day.
And I'm leaving the 24th, so it would
Okay.
have to be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
So, does a Monday evening, does that generally, I know that Wednesday evenings are busy, usually for people. Monday evening, is there anything that's conflicting with a Monday evening that anyone is aware of? I mean, a standing meeting?
Not that I'm aware
I
of.
would probably
Check with their school board down there.
See when that is? Okay.
I had it, which was going to price for 11 a.m. on the 14th.
Oh, okay.
But like you say, I think you do need a little more time.
I just need a little more
It's going by
time.
pretty fast.
And
this time.
I have a lot of work aside from this to do in my office too, so
So you're talking about maybe the 21st then?
right. Monday the
You're leaving
21st
the
at
24th, right?
I'm leaving the 24th,
at 6 p.m.
Works.
Does that work?
Yeah.
Or we could even
Yeah.
do 5:30, so those folks don't have to, sometimes that work home gap. I don't know.
Now, you're talking about the 21st, Jim?
21st, yeah.
Okay.
We got a school concert that night here at 6 p.m.,
We do? What grade level?
5 through 8.
Okay.
And then the 24th Thursday, we have the K through 4 school concert.
He always shows me up in this parenting thing, I have to look to Mike and say what, because they're.
Because actually, it's going to be the people from down there that'll be coming.
That'll be coming, yeah, so they
That's
won't
like
have.
this-
But no, Cole can't go, and neither can Colin.
I don't have a 5th grader though yet, so I'm okay.
I got a 6th grade.
Right. So I'm good, but,
I'd suggest that 5:30 hour.
5:30? Yeah.
If folks are commuting from Bozeman, it's 30 miles. They can get there by 5:30. If they're living in that general area or Three Forks, it's pretty close to off time, general off time. I think you're right. If we make it 6, I think we'd lose some folks to getting home first and man.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, you come home and you take your shoes off, you don't wanna leave them in.
It's so hard to
It's
put
so
them back
hard,
on.
it's so hard to put them back on.
Yes.
It's so much easier if it just kind of rolls
I'll
into
be
your
back
workday,
before.
so. Okay, so let's do Monday the 21st at 5:30 p.m. at the Stockyards,
Perfect.
pending any, glaring obstacle. And I will send out an invitation to all of these folks first to see what we can and cannot get as far as people there. And then, I'm sorry, as far as employees, county workers and fire department, and then I'll send out the invitation notice.
And if that could go out before the 14th, that way they'll
Mhm.
know that there isn't a meeting here, that it has been switched to a meeting there in their community.
I will just make it due to myself, what is today? The 19th, by myself, I'll just make sure I have it done by April 25th.
Before you set that date too solid, see when the city council meets and when the
Okay.
Three Forks School District meets.
Sure.
Our problem is if we don't do it actually, I think it's gonna be tough not to do it that night. With Mike leaving the 24th, Tuesdays are crazy, the 23rd is full. I think it'd be tough
Right.
to have a meeting until mid-June.
Mm-hmm. And by then, it's
So you're
gonna be water under the bridge.
So
I mean,
basically,
you know,
we're
it's
this
gonna-
21st then. is that
The
right?
21st, and I can hustle and try for the 14th. I just can't.
You know,
promise it.
this may be a suggestion, if you could get a hold of Jeff Price and tell him that this meeting, the 14th, is gonna be there.
Good.
And he'll be contacting a lot of them people there.
Right.
Either he will or somebody of us in that group, I'm sure will.
Mhm.
I would rather than run on the 21st and try to hurry up and throw something together that we don't get as much information as we can
Yeah.
get.
Right, I really wanna have as much information as possible. I mean, we're not gonna have answers to every one of their questions, but I wanna be able to devote a lot of time to studying up on our options
Yeah.
here.
In that way, if that group are planning on this 14th, this way, like I say, if you get a hold.
I can email Jeff
Do they
right
leave
now.
that
and just
list? Yeah, there's a list there, I guess.
Is
He
there?
was contact everyone that.
I don't think you should call everybody on that list.
Oh.
It's a whole day's.
Oh,
I was
no.
just- I
I'd just
email Jeff.
I'd say
Yeah,
Jeff be a
that's
contact
perfect.
person, and
Okay.
that fellow that, he left a card. on
The guy
Rolling Glen.
that was the Rolling Glen Homeowner Association,
Oh, okay.
those would be the only two.
Yeah, that's, I'd say, let them take care of
And
it.
let them get,
Did you
yeah,
have his card, or?
I do not.
I've got it.
Do you have, okay,
Oh, okay.
perfect. So maybe here's something that I have. Email Jeff and Rolling Glen homeowners. Perfect. Okay. You know, I think that this is a really good idea. I think it'll be very beneficial for the area. I've been in contact with folks in the Mountain Vista subdivision, which is just southwest of Rolling Glen. They have some serious issues with their internal subdivision roads. Their main access is Wheatland Road, so they're not concerned with Price Road, but they also are interested in an RID. So, you know, we might be having separate RID conversations, but I think just to give them the information and know how to proceed in a group, as opposed to me communicating to one or two people at a time, or, you know, this commission trying to communicate to a group of people at a time here, so.
And pick a date and go with, because you're never gonna get everybody.
No.
Yeah, that's for
Right.
No
sure.
matter what.
No, yeah, we're never gonna get, yeah. Okay.
Before we are done, when we're done with that subject, but before you leave us, I have some questions for you,
Okay.
if I may. Are we done with that subject?
Yeah, we're done.
Yeah.
So I brought Mike, I'm sorry Daryl's not still here, I brought Mike up to speed a little bit on the Wheatland turn lane.
Mm.
Because we just got that loan repaid in the balloon
Oh, okay.
of $80,000, plus we netted for the county $27,000 in interest. I don't know if you were aware of
I was
that.
not, no.
Oh,
Nice.
all right. Well, we just got paid back our loan in full. It's been trickling in, but we got a balloon payment of $90,000. And then the interest over the 5-year period was $27,000. So we're gonna actually use that money to fund economic development for the next couple of years. But what I shared with Mike was kind of the history of that. And one of the pieces that I forgot to mention is that the drive behind trying to halt the commission from doing that, getting the whole MBAC to come in and facilitate that loan so that the developer paid for those turn lanes, was because there was a drive, actually a concerted effort to drive that subdivision and subdeveloper into bankruptcy. So I'm wondering, we've had a lot of issues with Rolling Glen because of the bankruptcy. Can you kind of fill in some of those, some flavor into not only the Wheatland turn lanes and the whole drive for that, but also what some of the ramifications have been to the county from the Rolling Glen Ranch bankruptcy, and also what the positives are from that area for the county for the successful, or any successful subdivision.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, I don't, to preface that, I do not think that Steve and Susie Kavanaugh were bad developers, which I know that's very synonymous in this county with a lot of people, that Steve and Susie Kavanaugh, bad developer, bad idea on behalf of the county. And to back up, that was our very first large development in this county since, I don't even know when. I think Indian Creek Estates was the previous one that was even close to that size. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that that's what it was. So Steve and Susie Kavanaugh, when they did Rolling Glen Ranch Phase 1, as that was receiving final, they came in and they were requesting Phase 2, and what that was to split the kind of this donut, the perimeter lots of Rolling Glen Ranch. At the same time that they were submitting that development, they also came in for the Rolling Glen Ranch Estates, where they'd had a contract to purchase land from Dennis Ron. So basically all of the land surrounding that between Price Road and Wheatland Road, with the exception of a couple of pieces here and there. And they were going to do what was called Rolling Glen Ranch Estates. They were going to turn it into 20-acre lots, which then rolled into the vision of the Rolling Glen Ranch PUD and got a lot of people fired up. There was sort of this understanding down there that there were promises made on behalf of the county that we were going to pave this road, we were going to pave that road, we were going to put in the equestrian center, the golf course, and that was never the case. That was never the county's promise. That was for the Rolling Glen Ranch PUD. Subsequently, they backpedaled and kind of got out of everything. They didn't do the Rolling Glen Ranch Estates. They didn't do the Rolling Glen Ranch Phase 3 and 4, and they did not follow through with the Rolling Glen Ranch PUD. So everything that's down there now is exactly what they promised and what the county required them to do for Rolling Glen Ranch Phase 1 and 2. So I just want to make that clear because it's, I hear a lot of chatter on what the county was supposed to do. Everything has been done exactly to what it should have been for Rolling Glen Ranch Estates as far as for Rolling Glen Ranch as far as the county is concerned, for those 126 lots that are finalized, approved, and filed. So, with that being said, there was a payback formula that was instituted for the improvements to Price Road and Wheatland Road, And that was done as a condition of final plat approval for Rolling Glen Ranch, where they were to pay, and I might have this flip-flopped, so I'm sorry, $6,000 to Wheatland Road and $4,000 to Price Road. Through the bankruptcy process, that number was negotiated down to, I believe, 2,000 and change to Wheatland Road, and I think it's 1,000 and change. I mean, we took a huge hit. 1,000 and change to Price Road. That money is specifically earmarked for those roads. I don't know what the status of that is today, so without doing a little bit of digging, I can't tell you where that money is. But I do know that there's a Price Road fund that at the sale of every lot, the title company issues a check to Ann, or to Ann through Doug's office, when they close on a piece of property, and that money is earmarked to specific accounts. All right, so that's Rolling Glen Ranch. Subsequently, Morning Sky came in. They are approximately 2 miles down Wheatland Road. Morning Sky is a development of 88 lots, I believe. They paid into the Wheatland Road fund. Also at the time, we were noticing that there was a need for a turn lane at Wheatland Road, so they paid in their proportionate share at the time to the Wheatland Road turn lane, and I don't know what those dollar amounts are. That one, all fine and good. We've never had an issue with Morning Sky developer or payback or payments or anything of that nature. After Morning Sky, Wheatland Meadows also came in, and they came in very close to the same time. In any case, Wheatland Meadows developer, he paid in his proportionate share for Wheatland Road as well as the turn lane. It was a condition of approval that he paid into that Wheatland Road turn lane. West Side Trails also came in. They are south of Wheatland Road, and they are 2.5 to 3 miles down Wheatland Road on the south side of Wheatland Road. That developer also paid into the Wheatland Road fund and the Wheatland Road turn lane. Again, I don't know those dollar amounts. So these were all, we have what's called an RFP, right? No, not an RFP. I'm not really sure. You caught me off guard. It's in the subdivision
Sorry.
regulations. No. It's in the subdivision regulations, and it's something I should know, and it's an acronym. But in any case, if a developer decides that they want to move forward for final, and no, not an RID. I have too many acronyms in my head. I'm sorry. If a developer is ready to move forward for final plat approval and they have not completed all of their improvements, they can enter into this agreement.
SID, isn't it?
No. Boy, it's in our conditions of approval that at the time of final plat approval, they can enter into a written contract. Essentially, that's what the developer of Wheatland Meadows did. He did not have all of the money up front to pay into the Wheatland Road turn lane, so he entered into this contract that, yes, I will do this in a period of time. They submit a guarantee that's 125%, so essentially a bond that's 125% of the estimated amount to pay into the completion of that project. Since then, obviously, he's followed up on it. He has followed all protocol and done what he'd promised to do. So we hold this bond, this guarantee that, it's going to come to me at 3 o'clock in the morning, what the name of this is. But we have the full latitude to do that, and the developer has the full latitude to do it. Essentially, it's so that the developer can go ahead and sell lots, even though he realizes he still has this thing hanging out here that he has to improve, but he can't afford to do that. So you're using the lot sales to pay for this improvement that you're required to do, and it's an MCA. Developers do it all over the place, so nothing was done maliciously or erroneously on behalf of the county. We simply followed protocol. Gosh, I can't think of what it's called. Anyway, so that's basically the history in a nutshell, a very small nutshell, of the Wheatland Road turn lane and all of the developments that occurred down there. West Side Trails will be coming in. I have a meeting to meet with Curtis Van Dyken. He is the representative to the developer on West Side Trails, the development south of Wheatland Road. Him and I are going to be having a pre-application meeting to go over his submittal of more lots in that area. So what will happen, that developer will be required to pay their proportionate share into the turn lane fund, which could be payback to this developer. It could go into the county fund. I'm not sure how that'll work. I have a lot of questions of that I'm going to have to articulate and send off to Terra DePue, but they will definitely be paying into the Wheatland Road fund for the improvements to Wheatland Road, or their proportionate share of payback to the Wheatland Road fund. Because just because a developer comes in at the end doesn't mean that they get off scot-free. They're still going to have to pay their proportionate share of the improvements for that road. So whether that goes toward maintenance of Wheatland Road or further improvement or expansion if we have to widen that road for more vehicle trips per day.
So he's gonna have to pay that $1,000, $2,000 fee per lot, same as the other development?
I'm not sure what the amount will be. It will, you know, I'm gonna have to work closely with Sean on this as well. I'm gonna have to call him in on this as far as the county's engineer. But the developer, and again, I don't know how many lots he's going to want to go for final. It could be 10, it could be all 96. So we'll have to look at that, and that developer will have to get a bid for any improvements that may be required for Wheatland Road. And we'll also look at what was paid into Wheatland Road for the improvements previously, and that developer will then pay the number of vehicle trips per day, which is 8, times the number of lots they're looking to move forward for preliminary and subsequently final, and then that money will come to the county. So it's kind of this multi-layered process before we can come up with a dollar amount. So it could be 1,000, could be 10,000. It's not going to be that high, but I don't have a solid number on what that will be until we can get a bid. And until I know how many lots he's looking at doing, because that road right now, I'm not sure what the threshold is that it's built at. I don't know if it's got to be less than 500. So if we go above a local number 1 to a local number 2, then that's a 2 feet on either side. No, 2 feet total wider road. So instead of a 24-foot surface, it's a 26-foot surface. So it may bump it up to a local number 2 road. So these are all questions that I'm going to have of him when we meet for our pre-application meeting.
So if it bumps that road up, then does he have to do those improvements on the existing road?
Yes. Mhm. Because all of those impacts are, the burden does fall on the developer at that point. Let me just see what the heck that's called. And we have payback formula in our regulations here too, just so you know, it's not something that we're just pulling out of our hat. We've had this payback formula that have been used for several developments. Subdivision Improvements Agreement, SIA.
SIA,
There we
yes.
go. Okay.
We did that a couple years in a row for Brad Campbell, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And really, you know, they just have to have a bond, you know, with whatever lending institution they choose, and it's 125% of the full amount of improvements.
Another question I have for you, just for education's sake, is we had a person here, and I hear it a lot, just kind of the blanket statement, oh, we don't want any growth. Honestly, we don't want to be like some of the counties in eastern Montana that are suffering so badly right now because they're shrinking, because they're in huge decline. I just met with a gentleman yesterday from Shodo. They're having tremendous problems with the school because they're in decline. Can you speak to growth as a general, the benefits, why we should care about the fact that we have a steady growth, why we should be thankful for that rather than trying to kibosh it and kill it?
Oh, absolutely. So I'm a huge proponent of smart growth, not to be confused with the Smart Growth Association. But it's smart growth in that we're going to grow. Hopefully we're going to grow, whether we have a handle on it or not. I want to be involved in the process, as I'm sure you commissioners want to be involved in the process. You don't want this just to take off on its own. I'm also a huge proponent of property rights. So say Farmer Smith has a section, 640 acres of property, and he doesn't want to farm anymore. He's tired, his kids don't want the ranch. I don't think that we should pigeonhole him or make him feel guilty for selling his property to a developer and or developing it himself. I think that we should be a part of that. So that goes all the way back to property rights, that we're not going to tell people what they can and cannot do with their property. Everyone is afforded that same right. You just have to follow the process correctly. I think that growth is so important for so many reasons. Obviously, the school. And I know that, people say growth doesn't pay for itself. I can't say that I believe that 100%. Because not everyone is going to have a student in school that's putting a burden, for lack of a better word, on the school system, but they're going to be paying into that. Not everyone is going to be calling 911 for ambulance or sheriff or fire services, but they're going to be paying into that. So, when people say that growth doesn't pay, I really have a hard time wrapping my head around that. because there are some people that are going to be more of a tax on the system and on our county services than others. So if you were to look at it across the board, I would say it's a wash. And we can see that in our tax rolls. I mean, we still have enough revenue coming in through taxes that we're not having to cut departments. We're not having to eliminate employees. So to say that growth doesn't pay for itself, I don't know. If I could really see it and have something tangible, I would believe it. So with that said, I think that growth is always smart, or growth is always good as long as you're doing it smartly and as long as you're involved in the process. I have a hard time and I cringe a little bit when people say, we need to stop growth. Okay, well, you're going to tell, Farmer Smith then that you cannot sell your property to anybody other than a farmer or rancher. I don't think that's who we are, and I feel very strongly in that belief. Everyone has the same property rights available to them, so no one should feel guilty about selling their property for homes. And no one should be forced into, working the land to death when that's something that either they can't afford to do, they don't have the time to do, they don't have a family to do. So, there's a little bit of a soapbox there, sorry. But I really feel that growth is a good thing for all communities. And I really feel that growth can pay for itself. Or at least it doesn't, it's not the negative that a lot of people tend to believe and profess. So.
And I appreciate that you differentiated smart growth, because we talked a little bit about the peaking Bakken was talked about. That was not smart growth.
No.
That was not constructive growth. Certainly there were good and bad that came with it, but that's not what we have here. What we have is a very slow but steady increase, which is exactly what smart growth is. And I just thank you for that. It's, I like to have somebody else who's intelligent and well-spoken that can actually speak to that
I'm
stuff.
sorry I
It's
didn't
important.
invite that person here today.
Oh, maybe we can invite her tomorrow.
No, I feel very strongly in property rights. When people say, oh gosh, that land has been used for ag for so long. That's great. If you want to write the check and buy it and farm it, good for you. But I truly feel that you should not be able to tell your neighbor what they should or should not or cannot do with their property. Because I know that I wouldn't want somebody to tell me that.
Well, it goes against the grain of who we are as Americans.
Mm-hmm.
We're not a caste system, nor do we want to be.
Nope.
So with that, just to let you know as an update, we did agree to bring you to full-time, and one of the formulas we're going to implement to pay for your department, because it can't be all funded with planning, is we're going to take the last percentage of growth that we had, because that's really what you do, and multiply that by the number of mills you have for community development, and that should infuse your budget by $29,250.
Oh, super.
So
Okay.
that'll be with everything else. You still are getting the 0.75 mils for community development, planning fees. I am hoping to offset the rural addressing that the sheriff's department pays, because in past years you either haven't been paid that and planned on it, or there's been a fight. Well, maybe this is a way to just get rid of the fight, make it clean. We're also going to look at the Land Information Act as a funding source, but I don't think there's that much in it. It got pretty badly rated by the legislature.
Yeah, I know that I get the printout of that I think every 6 months or so from Debbie on what's going on there. Yeah, there's not a lot. I don't think in our fund in any case, but I appreciate the full time, and it's a bittersweet pill, to be honest. I think I've been part-time for 9+ years now, and I enjoy my Fridays off. However, I have college looming.
Join the crowd.
I know, yeah. College costs and all those other things that you think you planned for, and you're just never prepared emotionally and financially. So thank you for that, because that was a concern of mine. That's been a concern of mine for the last 6 years or better. You know, I certainly didn't want to come to you and ask for a raise, for numerous reasons. The last time I did that, we all got our hands slapped, and you know, I definitely have enough work to go 40 hours. I mean, to you know, I have 40 hours worth of work, I guess I should say, or better. I have enough work that it would be nice to have someone in my office, you know, when I'm out to answer the phone. However, I don't want to be greedy because I want to have a job next year. I want there to be money in the budget for me to have a job next year, and so, you know, I appreciate that you've found a solution, because I didn't know of a solution to tell you how to keep me here more than 32 hours. So.
And there's definitely the work, like
There, you know,
said.
there's so much work. I was at the Montana Governor's Conference on Tourism and Recreation the last 2 days, and it just an amazing conference and amazing people. And when you go to things like that, everyone's there, you know, for positive. I mean, just, you know, when you're talking about outdoor recreation and bringing tourists to your community, I mean, of course, who is not, you know, fired up and excited to be there? So it was a great conference, and I appreciate you letting me go. But yeah, I have 20 voicemail messages that I have yet to answer, and you know, and pages of email. So it's bittersweet to be out of the office as well. You know, it's great to go and learn, and I appreciate again that opportunity to go. But when you come back, that's always difficult. So one of the things, and then I'll let you go. But one of the things I sat in on, the Whitefish Lake Trail, and I am so excited for this. I want to look into this a little bit more. So they actually built a bike walk trail all the way around their lake in Whitefish, and most of it is public land. And so I'm really anxious to figure out how they did that, because our Parks and Rec board has been looking into that, and I know the Trust board has been looking into that. So, you know, when you think about these tourism and recreation, a lot of times you're thinking about Yellowstone or Glacier, but when I saw the map of the billions of dollars that come to Southway, because we're broken into categories: Yellowstone, Glacier, Russell, Gold, and then Southwest Montana. It was in the billions of dollars that people came to this, the Southwest Montana area, and spent dollars on tourism. And a lot of them, you know, when they pull them, I know I took the survey. They were here actually last summer, and there was a gas station at Town Pump, and there was 3 minutes worth of questions. They said, because it takes you about 3 minutes to fill up your car. Perfect. And anyway, so there's a survey on, you know, do you live here? Why do you come here? You know, what's the draw here? And for most of those people, it was the outdoor recreation for Montana that came to visit. And I thought, how cool is that? And we've got this lake and all of these trails and all of this public land, and we're not capitalizing on that. Instead of bringing those tourism dollars to our community. Again, smart growth. I think it's a beautiful idea. So that is all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I was so excited. I rode my bike to work today with my warm hat and my gloves, because it's still
Nice.
it's still cold out there.
Yeah. But darn it, it's the end
But
of
have you
April.
guessed that there's not snow? So is that all? I guess before I leave.
Until when?
Yep, until 1. Yep, I'll be back at 1.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And so the 1 o'clock meeting. Is there anything I should be prepared for, other than to possibly talk about this notice of intent to construct? Is my
Perfect. I would
Okay.
say, the issue you have with Department of Revenue and that difference in the program,
Mhm.
we're gonna have Roz and Jess both here.
perfect.
And
okay.
so maybe we can figure out a way to make that work.
Mhm.
And Julie came to, I think it was Board of Health, and I asked her to come to the commission. She hasn't yet, so today is the day. But she wanted to also address that, and I think there was a fee structure she wanted to propose. Can't remember some of the details. She said she proposed it to the past commission, so 10+ years ago.
Oh, okay.
And they said no, and so she didn't bring it back. So today is an opportunity for that.
Perfect.
So that's what we're gonna be talking about, is opportunities and how can we, you know, kind of put those pieces together to make it all work for us better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, thank you.
See you at
Okay,
1.
thank
See you
you.
at 1.
Can we take care of this, Megan?
Sure.
Okay, we got to just move, this is a Verizon wireless bill. And then this is a Department of Health and Human Services
Is that a task order?
task order, yes. We need to get a signature on this.
I would move to approve that task order for which department? I know it's public health.
Health and Human Services.
Which one? Which grant? They have immunization, WIC, MCH, bioterrorism, Blipma, FAPS.
Task order Congress just has a number on it. Emergency preparedness activities.
So I move that we sign and approve the task order for FAP, for public health.
No second.
Motion been made, second to sign the task order for Department of Public Health and Human Services, Public Health Emergency Preparedness Activities. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same, motion carries.
And before you adjourn, just for the record, Mike Myers has authorization to cut down some bushes and a tree outside of public health to get gravel and create a more safe parking area. Still good with you?
Yeah,
All right.
so we will recess, or are we adjourning? We're recessing until one?
Yeah.
Recess until 1, it's 11:46.
Time for lunch. Was that Nicole's?